Honey Bunch?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Well, we're ending November here. We're recording this on Sunday the 29th, so a day early. Probably not going to get in another game tonight or tomorrow.
No, we're not.
So
We're not.
Got to prep for school,
Yeah.
as it is.
Yeah.
So, but we did get 9 games played over the course of this month. Most of them in the last week or so, because it was a nice Thanksgiving break. You guys are going to be benefiting from that, and you know, we have our audio podcast where we do more detailed discussions of the games, and we're getting up to, I think we just recorded 756 to get us through the rest of the year. So
Oh my goodness.
we've been doing this for a little while. Doing this part less so,
time,
but
yeah.
I do want to remind everybody that we are doing a weekly podcast, video podcast now, called Wine, Music, and Games, where we talk about a bottle of wine, where we talk about an album, and we talk about a single game, or connected games, if you will. And so you can tune into that probably in a day or two after this, because we try to get those out on Tuesday or Wednesday of every week, all right? So we've got 9 games, as I said, and we're probably going to go light to less light as we go. And since I've got 5 over here,
Yeah, you have quite
and you
a few.
have 4 over there, I get to start.
All right, very
All
good,
right.
dear.
So our first one here is called Trimau Grand Tour. This is a game that we picked up at Essen 2019. No, Essen 2020. Though a couple of these I got as Essen 2020 was happening online. This one, Essen 2019. 2 to 6 players, about 10 to 15 minutes. It is a game where you're trying to get rid of all of your cards from your hand. And as you can see, cycling. So you're playing either on the track where the little wooden dobble is, or you're trying to match the 2 that he's not on to try to play more than one on your turn. So that's Trimau Grand Tour. The designer is, Takahiro is the designer.
All right. Well, we also had the opportunity to play Little Town, and some of you might have heard of its predecessor, which is Little Town Builders.
Yes.
And that came out, what, about 2 years ago?
2 or 3 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, and that was through a Japan brand, I believe, or Japanese.
A Japanese publisher.
A Japanese
yes.
Publisher. And as many of you probably know, they usually have small print runs for those games, and thankfully, IELLO picked it up. It's a lot of fun. It's a game, think of tile placement, but each building has certain powers, and you have to go get resources to build them. And so where you stand makes a difference, and then there's different types of buildings that make it very cool and fun to play. So we would definitely recommend Little Town.
2 to 4 players. You have 4 rounds, and you have between 3 to 5 builders that you're playing each round. Goes quick, 20, 30, maybe 45 minutes
it's
with
fast.
4 players, but very quick. Yeah,
Lots
nice
of fun.
solid one. All right, sometimes we run into a game by a designer that we really like, that we don't really like the game though. So that's the case with, unfortunately, Amigo's Monster Expedition. This is by Alexander Pfister. Very good designer, usually. This is a dice fest with monsters, and you're trying to get the monsters. And we actually didn't even make it through a single game. When you have 756 episodes where you're reviewing at least 2 games per episode, we have a good feel for what we know we're going to like. And I probably should have read up a little bit more on this, but I saw Alexander Pfister. Oh, gotta get it.
Yeah.
No.
There's other ones you could pick that you would probably like better. I think maybe this would be good for
Teen boys.
Yeah, I was gonna say teen boys. And there's a lot of, I'm thinking maybe some teen boys would like this.
It is 1 to 4 players, and there are expeditions that you can do as a solo player. So I'm gonna just take maybe a look at that, and maybe we'll revisit this to look at it. But no,
I was like, no.
Okay.
So I ex-nayed it. So sorry about that, but I'm sure Doug will do a solo one. And I will laugh. No, I will not. This is Rajas of the Ganges Dice Charmers by R&R Games. Love the game.
Inka and Markus Brand.
Yeah, Inka and Markus Brand. Of course, great designers.
Yeah.
But if you are familiar with the board game, it has some of those same type of scoring methods and characters. But I've been anti getting any more roll and rights, and so, but I loved this game, and it was one of my favorites a few years ago.
Yeah.
This is fantastic. fantastic.
This was the game that I featured in the first episode of Wine, Music, and Games that I did solo.
Yeah.
And it is a really solid game. So
Yeah, so I can't say enough good things about it. It's just so much fun to play. And if you like that kind of popcorning effect of, this takes you to here, and these fast actions, and I just love that. Think Ganshan clever, but much more challenging.
Right.
In terms of that, going from here to get to there, to go to here, to get to there.
Yeah, and I really like that the scoring mechanism that was in the big game where you have 2 score tracks, and as they meet up, that's what ends the game. Same thing with this one. But unlike the it's Big Brother, where you're spending money, and so your money score is going back, you're always moving forward on those score tracks. So there is this sense of accomplishment. I think
It's so much
even
fun.
Like this even better than the Big Brother.
I think so too. We're gonna revisit the board game because it's so great, and we'll do a comparison. But what I can say is, if you love the board game, I think you might even like this one better. And if you're not familiar with the board game, this would still be a winner. This not going to be a prerequisite to enjoying this game.
And it's shorter.
It's a lot shorter, which is great for us.
Okay, my game number 3. I got all the disappointing ones.
I know. I'm sorry, dear.
That's okay. All right.
I only want to talk about the ones that I love.
We got these great designers, and it's almost a given when we get their games. And this one has a history, of it's Big Brother again, another Big Brother, Little Brother
that we love.
This is Castles of Tuscany. Stefan Feld. Solid game.
But think
lighter.
Castles of Burgundy, which you probably are very familiar with, and it's an amazing game. This is a lesser, a faster, a different person would like that than, say, Castles of Burgundy.
Not nearly as good.
And we love Castles of Burgundy, so this would be something more. Maybe I would say it's fun. It's very straightforward, and
Yes,
I would say it's more it's a family friendly version.
Yes.
So this would definitely be something to play with family, and it's not that it's simple, but it's just more. It's more luck based.
Alea rates games on a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of difficulty, and this one gets a 3 out of 10. So
that seems
kind of
appropriate.
Tells you where it is.
So that tells you
2 to 4 players, 45 to 60 minutes. Actually, 45. I think 30 to 45 is more likely. So it's a fast playing. It's just not as fun as you want it to be, and it has one of those kind of petering out towards the end situations.
Yeah,
so,
that did happen.
Castles
That's
of
true.
Tuscany. Oh, well.
All right. And then, of course, Ticket to Ride is famous. Everybody's got probably at least one, if not like 10 different versions of it. Well, this is the next one.
Yep.
This is, of course, by Alan Moon and Days of Wonder, and it's called Ticket to Ride Amsterdam. And if you're familiar with the smaller versions of the game, the ones that are really speed play games.
New York, we've talked about.
Yeah,
previously.
New York, and
there's a London one.
There's a London one, and we're keeping our fingers crossed for San Francisco.
Yeah, I mean,
obviously,
come on, you gotta do the
yeah, we know that's coming. I mean, because why wouldn't it?
Right.
But if you like that fast play, this is very just 20 minutes.
No, more like 10 to 15.
10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And there's very few pieces, so you really have to think what you're going to do. You have to take your tickets more selectively. You can't just be like hoarding tickets all the time, because that's not going to be helpful to you. And it's over before you even realize it, and you're not going to get bored.
Wait, Shell only has 2 things
oh,
left.
crud. Oh, man. Why did I take another ticket? Yeah, no, it's good.
This one has the wrinkle of have...
Each one has many, little...
Yeah, exactly. And this one, where if you play on certain of the tracks or the routes, then you get a card, and the person who has the most, second most, third most, fourth most of those cards gets a certain amount of points at the end. So that's the little wrinkle that you can pay attention to.
And you know that the cards are quite beautiful,
and
the cart, they're little carts.
Carts, yeah, because this is set in like 17th or 16th century.
So that's very cute and different, and it's just a sweet game.
Yeah. All right, another Stefan Feld this time. This one, Bonfire, much heavier than Castles of Tuscany. And I like it, but I mean, we're talking about a guy who did Macau, and we're talking about a guy who did Trajan. We're talking about a guy who did, which one am I trying to think of?
Gosh,
Forum Trajanum.
Trajanum. Yeah.
3 that we really like.
And many games.
Yeah, Castles of Burgundy, of course, right?
Yeah.
And this is a heavyweight game, but it, as we say in the podcast that we talk about, especially for Shell, feels like work.
It's work for me.
I liked it more than Shell.
Yeah.
We've played it a good 4 times, but there's a lot of interconnected mechanisms in it. And there are a couple of situations where you feel like, okay, I don't have much to do here towards the end. And wow, that's it.
It's a really heavy, this is a true gamer's game.
Yes.
If you want to just really think really hard. And I love to do that. There's games that I love that do that.
Yeah.
This is a game that I felt like, wow, I just want to do so much. I have so little actions that I can do. And it was just...
There's a frustration factor, I think. Right?
Yeah, it just wasn't...
It's fun.
It's fun. It's also kind of an interesting, bizarre theme. It's like got guardians and you have to get portals to get to your fire, and you have to,
It has like 2 more mechanisms in it than you need to be a good game. And, of course, you have to take this with a grain of salt and all the things that we talk about when Web of Power / China is our favorite game, plays in 30 minutes and is got this great, straightforward thing. It feels like, and a lot of Stefan Feld's feel this way, very kitchen sinky.
There's a lot in it. There's a lot in it.
It just feels like it's not as good as it could be for what it is and for the time it takes to play.
All right.
Shell's last one.
This one is huge. It's Paris. It's by Kramer and Kiesling, and it's by Game Brewer. This is the deluxe version of the game. So you don't have to have the deluxe to enjoy it. It is a solid game, but the deluxe bits do add quite a bit to it.
Yes.
It's visually stunning.
Yes.
You can see every single thing on the board, and there's a lot going on in this game. It's area majority.
But it's really straightforward. And, unlike Bonfire, where you've got all of these various things, here you do this, and then you have these 2 or 3 options. And within those 2 or 3 options, it's pretty fun. And, there's
a lot to think
cool
about with the game,
the
because you have to get certain types of things to turn into build monuments, and you want to have the most... you want to get your area of France to, or
your
Paris
district in Paris,
to score, and not everything is going to score. Sure. You have to get enough pieces in there, and so it's a really solid, awesome game.
And you have a 3D Arc de Triomphe sitting in the middle of the board.
Yeah,
it's gorgeous.
Beautiful. It is beautiful.
All right, 2 to 4 players, 90 minutes. All right, the last game that we're talking about is another big game, and another one that was kind of a disappointment. This is Czech Games Edition, Lost Ruins of Arnak, designed by Min and Elwin. And this is a big game. This is a perfect example of a game that needs to be smaller.
On the table.
Yeah, on the table. I just want to, this, now granted, they're different games. The smaller size box. I would bet that this thing could fit in that little town box. Maybe
if the pieces were smaller.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe it could be in here, but they've made the pieces just gargantuan in here. I mean, and it just takes up 2/3 of the table that we're sitting at here. And along with that, it has, again, and I think kind of the worst of the ones that we've got here, a situation where you got 5 rounds, and by that last turn, yes, there are some cool little, I can do this and then this. But those last couple of turns that you do, I guess I can buy that card and get a point. And that's all I can do. And it feels anticlimactic.
It's a game that you often have to stand up to see the whole part of the board, which you don't mind doing in like a heavy game. Yeah. This isn't a heavy game really in terms of challenge.
It's a medium heavy game.
It's a medium weight game. So
Bonfire is definitely a greater challenge in terms of
that's
what's
hard.
going on. I will give, Czech Games Edition, I give them props. It's a gorgeous game in many ways, got beautiful bits, and the rule book is very good and straightforward.
It's thematically written so that it's engaging, and you can see why that would be the next action. That's part of the reason why it's so easy to play and get into the game right away, and the actions are quick. So there's some good things to it. It's just...
Not a game that we liked. It does have, and I will say for those people who would be into a game like this, check it out. It does have a two-sided board, which gives you different stuff going on different options, and even a two-sided player boards, which give you different feels for the possibilities of the actions that you have. So I will give them props again for that.
And it's card drafting, so there's a lot of cards.
Well, deck building.
I mean, deck building.
Yeah, exactly.
So it has a lot of cards in it, so that does make the game always going to be a little different too.
Exactly, yeah. But you do have, as we will be talking about in the audio podcast, there's some of the luck factors and so on like that.
Oh yeah.
All right. That is our rundown of 9 games for the month of November. We will definitely have a bunch that we can talk about in December because we have a bunch sitting over there. And even things like, where is it? Red Cathedral, which I just got in the mail today from DeVere.
Oh.
Totally looking forward to that. I haven't even taken the shrink off of it, but I wanted to display it because we just got it. So, great stuff to look forward to. Please subscribe and like us if you would. Ring the bell so that you can get notified when new episodes show up. And remember, we're going weekly now, and you can find out a little bit about wine and some music along with games at our Wine, Music, and Games weekly show as well. All right, have a good month. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you later. Bye.